What is going on, everybody? It's me and Mike. Max should be along at any moment. Scott tried to tell me he was coming today, but we all knew Scott was not going to show up tonight. But Mike, how you doing? I missed you last week.
I know. I'm doing all right. I mean, technically, you were in the comments for a little bit.
I was. You guys were up against the Republican National something or other. And I'm like, this is great counter programming.
Awesome. I'm all right. I'm doing all right. I got done watching Dune Part 2 this afternoon, so that was fun.
Nice. I can't wait to go see it. And you know what? After I wrote in the comments that the Furiosa trailer was out, like I was shocked. I remembered like an hour later that we had actually reacted.
Yeah, I was like, we'd seen it. Well, no, I mean there could have been a new one. I wouldn't have objected to seeing a new trailer for Furiosa. But I was sending you, for those who don't know, I was sending Jason messages in our group chat while the pre-show trailer stuff was going on, and I was gauging like the audience's response to certain trailers. So they had the ones that I do remember. They had Ghostbusters, Frozen Empire. They had, what was the other one I told you about? Furiosa, Twisters.
Ugh.
And Deadpool. And it was interesting to kind of gauge the audience response because Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, no one was paying attention, like, because I was on my phone, but I was also listening, and everyone was just like still talking and stuff. No one was tuning in for Ghostbusters. Then all of a sudden Twister shows up and everyone's like, whoa, hang on, what's this shit? Like they're just like focused in on, they're like, ooh, at the very end, they're coming out with another. And then it was Deadpool. I know there were other trailers, but those were also unmemorable. Deadpool showed up, and then everyone's kind of like crickets on that one. And then all of a sudden, the Furiosa trailer drops, and this crowd like was eating that up. So I was like, okay, I feel like I'm in an interesting crowd today. That's cool.
Well, it's fascinating. It's a fascinating conversation because Ghostbusters and Deadpool are the two trailers that are everywhere right now, and the other two really aren't. And I
might be it.
Furiosa was out there more. Twisters, I know I'm in the minority. I didn't like the original, and it might be because that's all my sister watched for like a year. So I've seen that movie like so many times that I can't stand it. And then the second one doesn't even have Bill Paxton and Helen Hunt in it, and they were the best parts. And Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Yeah, I was about to say. I was like,
and Carrie Ellis. Like it had a great cast. Like this, I watched this trailer and it looks like the same movie. Only difference is they have the Dorothy thing from the beginning.
Yeah. Which makes me wonder if any characters are gonna have like a connection to, like, is Glenn Powell gonna be revealed to be like their son or something or whatever, or their lost nephew, what have you. No, Twister was never really a thing for me. I mean, it was in the sense that I watched it a few times when I was a kid. I thought it was fun for what it was, but I never was like enamored with the world of Twister, except for the soundtrack. The soundtrack is awesome because it has Van Halen on it, like kicking ass on a bunch of like different songs. But yeah, it was interesting just because it was like, I was kind of wondering, like, the same thing you were mentioning, like those trailers are everywhere for, like, say, Ghostbusters and Deadpool, because they are the big intellectual properties that get the studio push. They're like, market the hell out of the Marvel and Ghostbusters stuff, absolutely. So probably it might have just been that everyone has seen those trailers everywhere at this point, that they're tuned out of it. I mean, that's the way I am whenever I see a Marvel trailer, because I get it in my feed, I get it, I get it in my whoa.
I know.
Hey.
I know. Wow. And I just said that Scott's not going to show up, even though he said he was going to show up.
He was probably listening. He was probably watching the broadcast. He was like, I don't know if I'm going to show up. And now that you mentioned it, you threw down the gauntlet. So
actually, I had I had to make myself a beverage for this momentous occasion.
Cheers.
Is actually the movie I'm most excited about watching this year.
Which one?
Ghostbusters. I'm super amped for that one. Because I guess some of the people from the animated series were involved in the new movie. And you can tell kind of from the movie, like the trailer and stuff. So it's kind of got me kind of stoked. it's like the Ghostbusters movie. Like the original cast is active in it again, and we'll see. But yeah, no Twisters. I don't know who was asking for Twisters. Like I don't know who was asking for Twisters.
I mean, everything's coming back. Like I mentioned earlier, it's like, well, because I mentioned also the trailer for the Fathom Events trailer for Rad, and I'm just like, man, who's asking for an anniversary, edition of Rad?
Well, it's funny you sent that because I'm in a lot of movie forums and I'm in a couple of movie discords, and Rad has got a huge following. And when you brought that up, like, I guess it makes sense. I don't know. I watched Escape from New York for the first time this week.
It's a good movie.
I got shamed in one of my movie groups for not having seen it.
I mean, we talked about this. We talked about this a little earlier, but I'm like, Escape from New York is not like one of those, oh my God, I cannot believe you've never seen this movie. Like, you must watch this right now movies. Like,
apparently it is
good. It's good. But
apparently it is.
Maybe if you're talking to like a huge John Carpenter fan or something like
that.
Yeah.
I think they are a huge Carpenter because they recommended Ghosts of Mars and I can't remember the other one.
I would never recommend you Ghosts of Mars.
Yeah, that movie sucked.
That wasn't a must see. That was just, and then They Live is another movie I watched recently.
They Live.
That was pretty good.
I would hype They Live a lot more than Escape from New York.
Technically they did because they made me watch that one first.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's funny because the Bob's Burger episode that's spoofing They Live was on last night, and I was watching that. And I thought that was pretty funny.
Nice. Nice. But yeah, no, the trailers that debuted, it was just, I guess it also means like I haven't necessarily sat down in a theater, and actually paid attention to what the audience was doing so much until that moment. I was just like, oh, and it did the thing again where the movie opens up with a whoa throat singing, and everyone was still taken aback by that. I'm like, y'all should have seen that coming.
Yeah. And, I mean, like, and it's fucking awesome. Like, the throat singing is cool.
Throat singing is
like,
great.
I don't see why you was like, oh, wow, what a weird sound. Like, yeah, like this is not new.
I'm about to get shamed by you guys because I have not seen the original Dune yet.
The original Dune?
The original Dune or the 2021 Dune?
The 2021.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, no, you need to watch that.
I have to watch it because I'm going to see it with Max and Tony on Tuesday. So,
okay.
I'm going to fit it in. I'm excited to watch it. It's not for any reason that I haven't seen it. It's just I haven't had that much time really during the day. Because
you are not gonna know what's going on if you don't watch it. Like
No, I know, man. And it's not like I don't have time to watch things, but there's certain things that I want to watch where I can give it my full attention. And Dune has always been one of those that I want to watch, and I just haven't had time to watch it. But I'm going to make.
Have you seen either, Scott? Have you seen part one or the new one that came out?
I've seen part one, and I've seen, the 1980s one, but I haven't seen part two yet.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, I mean, it just came out yesterday, so yeah, people are gonna catch. But
so these were sold out, Mike.
Yep. I didn't see. They had the Kung Fu Panda with his bowl, and they had the Slimer one. But yeah, I was looking around because part of me was like, should I? Because I was thinking about the cast today. I'm like, should I buy one and just like show it right there in the camera? But
I almost want to.
I don't think it's worth $40 for the meme.
No.
Like there's no.
Is it $40?
But Max, it'll find usage.
What's crazy, Max?
I don't king shame.
As somebody who spent most of their life like collecting, this Dune popcorn tin just screams this is going to be the one that's worth money down the road. Because
it's the so bad it's good. Like
it's one of those ones that's going to be
nothing though. As we found out last week, nothing will beat Batman and Little Boy.
Oh God!
Oh my God! Oh my God!
On that note,
Max, you got your 5 cameos done, right?
Cheers.
Totally. A notebook and pen guy. That's me. I'm 100% ready for this. If you see me writing during the
something
cast,
completely different.
Yeah, it's for the next cast.
Yeah, you got plenty of time. So I want to get into the Dune review and I want to get into the Last Airbender review. But I've been watching the X-Men animated series from the 90s, trying to get into that mindset for the new one. And I got a question for you guys. American cartoons, not talking like anime, but were they serialized like the X-Men cartoon was back in the 90s? Was that something that the X-Men cartoon kind of like spearheaded? Because that thing is freaking serialized. Like, you have to watch the episodes in order.
It's definitely one of the ones that I first noticed, like, oh, episodes are connecting into a longer story, and they have like mini arcs and things like that. Because I know even Batman the Animated Series, they would have standalone episodes, and then every once in a while, like say Ra's al Ghul would reappear, then yeah, it would harken back to a previous episode. But like, no, X-Men, well, because they were telling all of the big X-Men stories that were multi-parters. Like, you had the Phoenix Saga and the Dark Phoenix Saga. You had
Days of Future Past.
Yeah, exactly. So
but even the episodes that don't, I mean, they all tie together, and it's
yeah. Well, no,
cool
the X-Men
watch.
cartoon, was like one of the original like actual comic book cartoons. Like you did it like a comic book, like previously on X-Men, and you like, yeah, they harken back to old issues, the whole old episodes, but like, yeah, no, it's very serialized, and that's one of the things that did really well.
They probably took a page out of, say, Star Trek TNG stuff, because Star Trek TNG would do that too, where there would be serialized stuff or stuff in the background at least that was taking place, like stuff about the Borg. Whoa. Yeah, they'd be like, stuff about the Borg, or, whenever Q would show up, they'd call back to like his previous encounters with Picard and things like that. And, there's always, but then they would have like good standalone stuff, obviously.
Yeah, I would say like even TNG is more standalone than serialized, and especially with the other animated contemporaries like the Spider-Man, or you mentioned Batman, or even like the Iron Man, the Fantastic Four show. Those are all pretty, like, they had some like arcs, but like for the most part, like, week to week, you could just drop in and watch it, and it wouldn't be like, oh, what am I missing? I'm so lost. Like,
yeah. And also, but I think the serialized thing would sometime, or at least maybe for some people with X-Men coming back, it would bite them in the ass a little bit, because I was definitely one of those people who dropped off in the last season due to the lack of quality in the animation. I was like, this doesn't look good anymore. And I felt bad later in life, because I found out, oh, it's an animation studio in the Philippines. Gooey.
It just seems like a crazy idea for the 90s, because DVR wasn't around then. So you had to watch the X-Men week to week, or you were kind of lost.
It kind of sucked too, because they would air some episodes out of order. Like, there somewhere on, not Wikipedia, but there is a website that's like, here's how the order you need to watch X-Men the Animated Series, because some stuff, and especially involving like Wolverine's Weapon X stuff, is listed out of order. So he'll be like angry about something.
And release.
He'll be reflecting on like his rage, and he'll see like Nightcrawler in the reflection of the mirror, like, tell him, you must make peace with yourself, Logan. And it's like, he hasn't met Nightcrawler yet, so who the hell is this guy? So,
he's a prophet.
Spider-Man had the exact same problem. Like, the production and release orders were so different.
Yeah, it's a little known power that Wolverine can see the future, just little snippets of the future.
He was having some of the melange.
I guess the Batman animated series too, when they released it on DVD, it was, some of the episodes were out of order. I don't know why. Why would you do that? Like, why wouldn't you just put them whatever? But
well, a lot of the episodes too were being done in bulk together, so you'd get like a package of episodes at once. But then maybe there were like a lot of errors from one studio, like, nope, go back, do it again, or something. Or maybe there were issues with like broadcast standards and practice, like, you can't show this on television. You got to rework this whole sequence. So that could have played a factor. Yeah. What's up?
Oh, hold on. One second. I forgot. Max, the hockey game was fun.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Had a blast at the Blue Jackets game. Free tickets, free pizza equals good time. It doesn't really matter like where you're even going.
Box seats all day. That's the way to go. That's the life.
Yeah. Are we about to lose Scott? He looked really annoyed.
Scott's a Blue Jackets fan.
Yeah. It was not a fun game to watch.
Yeah, no, we left. It was 3-1 them, and we left at the end of the second period. We were just like, I'm gonna beat the traffic. I'm a little tired.
And I was rooting for the wrong team for half of it.
Yeah, because Jason, the quintessential Mighty Ducks fan, was like, oh, it's USA versus freaking Iceland.
because that's what the colors were. So I in my mind I was rooting for red because that's.
And I was like, no, Jason, like we're the bad guys. We're the bad guys.
You know, Gordon Bombay's not actually there, right?
Max is like, we're losing anyway. I'm like, what are you talking about? We're winning. He's like, no, we're not.
No. And yeah,
you know they have the colors up on the big jumbotron.
You know what,
there,
Scott?
there.
I know.
There were a lot of
how
cues.
wrong I was, but
there were a lot of cues.
Even though I was rooting for the wrong team, I had fun at a hockey game. Like I was really shocked.
Jackets,
I mean, and like
Jackets
I've
are
never
the most
sat
fun live
in
sports events for sure.
I've never sat in seats like that good, like, where you're kind of just looking out over everything and you can really just see everything happening. Like, I mean, normally, like, my seats are, like, open way back where it's, like, you need the binoculars to kind of see what's going on. But, like, this is really dope. Like, I haven't gone to a lot of Blue Jackets games. I used to go to the Chill games back when we had the Columbus Chill, the minor league team, which is, like, a way better team name. And I was very upset at the Blue Jackets for not picking a better team name. So that's why I don't really go to the games. But yeah, no, this is a lot of fun. I was, very happy that Justin invited us out, and it was a good time. It was really funny too because like he invited John Orlando, who's like a big hockey guy. Like the guy builds a hockey rink in his backyard every year, and like that guy was podcasting. It was three podcasters watching hockey, and the hockey fan was podcasting. So it was really weird.
Well, he's a Penguins fan, so we don't.
Yeah,
affiliate
I
with
guess
him,
he's an asshole anyway.
Yeah, it wouldn't be as good.
I do want to say one more thing before we get into the Dune review. Is I don't think Justin appreciated the censored Dune bucket I found him last week.
Censored.
Censored.
That's just a bag on it, Jason. That's not really
I'm just saying because you know how Justin hates the look of the other one. He thanked me later, like much right down the line. I had to bring it up. He's like, I did appreciate it because I hate looking at that thing.
Well,
I found it for you.
You got to wear protection.
Right?
So it's like right. Yeah.
All right, Mike, how was Dune?
Amazing. Of course, I would go watch, the movie about a sand planet on the day it's like raining cats and dogs nonstop. Like that's karma. But no, it's really good. It's just as good as the first, which makes sense because it's a continuation. Like just view Dune 1 Part 1 and 2 as one whole movie. It's really Lord of the Ringsy like that. The performances I thought were really solid. The visual spectacles are there. Riding sandworms is pretty freaking sweet looking in this. And of course, your favorite thing, Max, the ornithopters are back in full force. There's, dozens upon dozens of them in battle scenes and all that good stuff.
I need to get that Lego set so bad.
Yeah. No, I can't imagine what it's like to actually construct one of those things. So it'd be interesting to say the least.
Probably like very annoying and then extremely satisfying at the end.
There you go.
That's annoying to keep whole because I'm sure those wings snap off real easy.
Yeah,
that's your own personal Benny Gesserit test. Can you build one of these things without like getting into a hysterical fit? Yeah, with a thing at your neck. With a thing at your neck.
Yeah, I would probably fail, but I would make the attempt.
I will say, the one performance I really kind of liked is Austin Butler as Fade Rautha because he's doing a Stellan Skarsgård impersonation to Stellan Skarsgård's face for a majority of the movie, and it's kind of hilarious in that meta sense. There are some things that if you've read the books, you might be like, interesting. They play around with the timeline a little bit, as in they truncate the amount of time it takes for him to go from just Paul Atreides to Paul Muad'Dib, their Al-Ghib, whatever. I can't remember the Outer World voice.
Muad'Dib.
It truncates the amount of time he goes from, Duke's son to Chosen One. Because in the original book, like he spends years out in the desert, learning, and it's in the span of months here. So
and that's kind of weird too, because it's like normally in those books, like all that stuff where he's learning and growing and discovering his love of the whatever. And that all takes a long time in the book, but the action sequences are very short.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I
movie,
think
they kind of reverse.
You don't get a lot of like big battles in the book.
No,
like,
no.
A lot of them are from like the perspective of people like far away from the battles.
Just witnessing it from afar, and
it's read more like a historical, like, okay, then the battle happened, and then that's now we're moving on.
I mean, I get why that's done in the book too, because the whole idea is like he's being mythologized, and he's trying so hard to fight against being mythologized, and that comes through, and that still comes through in this. But also, the truncated timeline, I feel, changes up a lot of stories elements for certain characters. Like Chani is put in a very different kind of position at the end of this movie than the way she was kind of left off in stuff like Dune and Dune Messiah. But because they're obviously going to be leading into Dune Messiah. This isn't the end. This is like the Empire Strikes Back of it all. So there's still a lot more territory to cover. And I didn't mind the truncated timeline too much. There's an appearance by an I'm not going to spoil too much here. There's an appearance by an actor in here playing a role I wasn't expecting them to play, but it makes sense in the movie why they're playing this character. And yeah, you'll just have to sit with the fact that this character's presentation in this version of the story isn't quite lining up with the timeline in the book. It's totally fine. There has been a little bit going around about like this is a very de-Islamified version of the story, because
I was gonna ask about that actually.
Which I totally understand. And as I was thinking about it after I watched it, I'm like, yeah, that is one of the things I would give this movie a lot of guff about, is they take a lot out of the context of, say, words and language, because in the actual book, the language of the Fremen is very heavily influenced by, Muslim customs, Muslim, language and so forth. There are a lot of Islamic vernacular is put into the language. Here, it's more of a made-up language. They conveniently leave out the word jihad, which is used a lot in the original source material.
A lot.
Yeah.
It's now just referred to as holy war. So there's that element, and I'm kind of like, I kind of understand why a major Hollywood studio post 9/11 would want to avoid accentuating too much on the word jihad, but at the same time, you lose a lot of the context that Herbert was going for back when he wrote the book, and because he was basically he wasn't demonizing Islamic culture. It's mainly about like, yo, white people, we suck, and thankfully that comes through clearly in the movie too. Is this whole idea of like colonialists basically weaponizing religion and religions that they essentially like instill in other cultures.
That's what the Bene Gesserit do. They create religions to control like local populations.
Yep. Yeah. And that comes through clear enough. Like Lady Jessica and Paul, at certain points in the movies, in this movie in part one, they aren't heroes. Like that's the thing.
Oh yeah.
This story has no heroes. It has people, bad people, questionable people, and really, really bad people.
So. And I mean, and it's like, hey, like even in the case of Paul, it's like it's just a person trying to survive.
Yep.
Like he was obviously like he had a lot of privilege, like that. That's the world he was born into. But like, did he just do the thing that would make him live? Yeah.
Yeah.
So, it's like, yeah, they're not going to do the best thing or the right thing. They're going to do the thing that lets them live.
Yeah. And I mean, that theme is still there. It's just interesting that, yeah, this version, the spectacle can't be argued. It's a grand spectacle, but it's just interesting that they decided to kind of excise a lot of the context, especially with regards to the language being used in the original source material for the sake of this adaptation. It still works, and the changes I liked are, they're effective for what they need to be, and they're clearly building up towards a trilogy. So we'll see where it goes from here.
All right. No, I mean, I'm so down. The first one was so good. I mean, like, I had to read the book over again. Like, after I watched the first movie, I'm probably going to end up reading the book over again after I watch this one.
Mm-hmm. So.
And it is the end. It's the second half of the first book, right? Like it's the end of the first book. This movie doesn't like leave anything like left. At least not like they're like, oh, we're gonna maybe do a third part that maybe is half of Dune Messiah or something like that.
No,
like,
it's not like it stops right in the middle of a cliffhanger type. I mean, there is a cliffhanger, but it's left. If they don't go ahead with a third film, this could be deemed as sort of a somewhat unsatisfying, but overall satisfying kind of conclusion. But they're going to go ahead with the third film, I think. Hans Zimmer, I think, said like right before they released this movie, Denis Villeneuve came into his office and put Dune Messiah on his desk without saying anything. So he's like, get to work. So
but the end of this movie and the end of the book are more or less the same.
It leaves off where the book leaves, where the first book leaves off.
Okay, that's what I figured, but I wasn't.
Yeah, because even the first book kind of leaves you open for the next book. Like it's concluded, but there's still unfinished business. Like all the boxes were checked, but there's still like the looming.
The Wookiee didn't get his medal, so it's unfinished business.
Shit's about to get weird. I can't wait.
Oh man.
All right, guys, Avatar The Last Airbender. I did not finish the first episode. I know I said I was going to, and just life happened. I just didn't have time. I'm enjoying what I'm watching so far. I have no context to the animated series, but the live action I'm digging so far.
Did you finish it, Max?
I have not finished the series. I've already checked out some spoilers on like kind of what's going down for the whole season. So like and obviously I've watched the cartoon multiple times over. So like there's not really any surprises coming. And being honest, like the first season of Avatar is to me the worst season of Avatar.
I agree.
Not that it's bad. It's just it's
definitely the weakest of the three.
Yeah.
Like for sure.
And with the ending, with the koi fish and the spirit and all that stuff, like I was never like a huge fan of it anyway. So this not being like not blowing my socks off doesn't really surprise me. I'm not really like disappointed in Avatar in the live action. I mean, it's pretty much what I expected. I'm just glad it was better than, like it's hands down better than the M. Night Shyamalan movie. Like, I mean, obviously it's a low bar, but like they jumped over it. they managed to get over it. So like I mean it's I'm only like 2 episodes in, but I've seen some of the later season stuff, and it's okay.
Liz prefers the live action.
Yeah, Liz. So I'm watching it with my wife. She prefers the live action, but it made my heart sad when she's like, "Oh, I think I'd rather watch this than the cartoon." And I'm like, I get it, but I'm just like,
I'm in the same boat. I tried to watch the Avatar animated series and it just did not grasp me. This show has at least grasped my attention that I can't wait to go through. Maybe I'll finish the live action and go back and watch the animated series.
I mean, and
so
like
far,
I get it. Like people don't identify with cartoons as much as I do. And I prefer cartoons because you can do anything, and it costs the same amount of money to have a gigantic action sequence, like flowing action sequence with awesome kung fu. It costs the same amount of money to do that as to have 2 people sitting in a room having a conversation like that. So in animation, you can do so much more, for the money that you're spending, and it never looks like your eye never does that. Well, that's fake. Because it's all animated. So that's why I prefer animation 10 times out of 10 on anything.
If there's exaggeration and an effect, it's a stylized choice.
This isn't meant to hurt you or Scott or insult you, but you kind of said this too. When I watched the animated episode, I think I watched the first 2. It felt very kiddie Nickelodeon.
Yes. Yeah. The first season.
I think that's why it didn't grasp me.
Yeah. And
I have a. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you go.
I'll go on my rant here in a minute. Go ahead.
Okay. And that's the problem with the first season. But like in the same way that Harry Potter grows up and just gets better as you go, this is that. Except it's way better than Harry Potter.
No, you're just saying that because Justin's not here.
Yeah, there's no J.K. Rowling to f everything up. Like it's just good. But yeah, you do have to kind of get through the first part, and it's for kids. Like that. Like when they first started the thing, like Aang is the youngest he is, and like there's a lot of things that happen as he goes, and they do a very good job of growing all of the characters as they go through these ordeals. But I mean, also, it's a story about like 12-year-olds telling like 45-year-old generals and stuff like that what to do. Like that's just like that's a little bit weird, like it's hey, I've lived a whole life, you are 12, like go away.
That's something that
So
I
Max
think
likes it. Animated shows better. This could be better too. Scott, what are your thoughts?
Well, I was kind of leaping off of what Max said. They do a little bit more of that in the live action, where like when he gets to the north and he gets to like the Northern Water Tribe, they're like, oh yeah, what can you tell us? And they're talking to these kids. When in the original, like they're kind of more like, we're glad you're here, but like we'll handle it. Like we're the adults.
Yeah.
And that was kind of something that I was like, they're just ready to take like these outsiders' advice on pretty much everything.
Outsider
like,
children.
Yeah. When they're like, we've been here for hundreds of years. We're fine. Like we're doing just fine. So that was something, even though there are a lot of instances of like the kids are like, oh, we're here, and the adults are like, oh, what should we do? In the original cartoon, that definitely happened.
If he showed up with an arrow on his head, I might listen to him because
shit. I do dig the tattoo. They do a real good job with the tattoo.
The tattoo looks great.
Yeah, I cannot.
It's the right shade of blue.
No bad thing to say about that. Jason had mentioned that he thought the casting was like Harry Potter level.
No, I changed my mind on that once I've started watching the show.
Okay, good, because I
it's still great. I think the casting's still good, but yeah,
and like they did a fine job visually. Like I don't know, they just weren't
trained in a lab like the Harry Potter kids.
Right, yeah, like they weren't genetically grown to be just these people and then die, but then didn't die.
Centuries upon centuries of crossing bloodlines just to produce the ultimate Harry Potter cast.
Yes.
Pulling it back to the Dune, yeah.
But it's all right. It's all right. And if you dig this, then good. I don't have any malice for you. Like it's not like I'm gonna be screaming like, oh no, you gotta watch the cartoon. If this is your in, awesome. But the cartoon is better. It's just
100%.
There's more of it. They spend more time doing it. Aang's like wanderlust and his just like childish like curiosity is done a lot better in the cartoon, again because they have the time to do that. Like they have time for side episodes where he's just like, oh, there's a festival going on over here, like we're gonna go do that because I'm a kid and I would not miss this. Like
yeah.
So yeah, there's just a lot of stuff that they kind of have to glaze over with the the number of episodes and the budget on a live action that again you're just going to get more of it in a cartoon.
Now I'm curious because I did tune in for about 13 episodes of the first season and dipped at that point because I was like, okay, I didn't grow up with this obviously, and I wasn't there like from the ground floor with the show, so maybe I just can't connect to it. But I stuck with it for a while in the first season. I do know was it the ultimate Avatar form?
The Avatar State.
The Avatar State. That's what it is. Is that in the live action show, and is it as badass as the animated version?
Yes and no.
Yeah. They do what they can. It's live action, and so
they take some liberties with it. Like with I don't know if you saw the Kyoshi episode.
Not yet.
He can channel past avatars through himself, so it looks like Kyoshi is running around doing stuff, which is a little different.
Right.
It's less he gets the powers and he can actually morph into other avatars, which is I'm not a huge fan of. It's not bad, but it's definitely different, but for no reason. Cool. Like I don't know what the point of this was, other than you have this actress on stage and you're trying to get your money's worth out of having her.
Right. No, I mean if that was me, if I was choosing this direction, again, I'm I'm not upset at like he can channel the past avatars, but it should be the ghost of the other avatar over top of the kid, like not the physical form of the avatar. Like if you're gonna
she
do
was
that,
blue, but she's not. It's just Kyoshi just running around.
like if you're gonna do the aura of the other avatar over top of Aang, and he's and he's got all the powers and knows all the moves, but like while he's normal he can't do that stuff. I mean, I'm not, that's sure, whatever, but like there's definitely, again, that's just they didn't have the money to do to do it right. Like they're like, okay, well, it's cheaper to just have her here than to animate over top of this kid while he's running around doing all this sick stuff. So there are definitely like liberties taken just for live action,
but it's better than the M. Night Shyamalan one where it's just the kid doing his kata in standing still and his eyes glow.
What's funny though is that like there are some things about the M. Night where I'm like, I kind of respect it more because it was trying to do more of its own thing. Like sometimes I feel like with this most recent live action, it kind of hurts it with it trying to stay true to the original. Like it feels like they're trying to shove in aesthetics and certain lines and certain like, not even like big events, like little events. They're like, well, the fans are, there's memes of this scene, so we have to put it in there. And like when they shoehorn it in without like the setup. So there's a line that Iroh says to Zuko a couple times in the original, where he says, you should rest. A man needs his rest. And he says it to him at certain points, but he only says it to him once in the new one. And it's at the very, very end. And it doesn't feel like earned and set up like it was. So like for as much as I don't like the M. Night one, at least like they kind of didn't try to like anchor themselves to the original as much. They tried to like do their own thing. Yeah. Whereas this one, when they do something like that, where they shoehorn something in, it feels like it hurts it more than it helps it.
Yeah,
like, but we got to have it in there. They had because it was in the original.
They had the original creators involved with this show.
Yeah, but no, then they weren't.
And then they did.
Yeah, but I mean, they still were for a time. Like they were still there.
Yeah, not a long time though. It wasn't a long.
Yeah,
time.
It wasn't very long at all. They dipped out pretty early.
And I feel like they only really invited them to get the street cred. Like, oh hey, the original guys were here. Like, and it's just like Scott was saying, they had to anchor themselves to the original project to show that they weren't M. Night, and they didn't do it the right way.
Part of me is wondering if that's a contractual thing too, where it's like, in order for you to be able to be paid a certain amount, here's the thing: in order for you to get this creative consultant fee, maybe, or something like that, where it's like,
it just feels like fan service. It doesn't feel like an adaptation. It feels like fan service. It feels like there were two parties, like the people who wanted to remain as true to the original as possible, and the group were like, well, we should try to make it different to justify the adaptation, and it definitely feels like they conflict a lot.
And like with an when you're taking something to something else, it can't be the same. It's definitely not, and especially when if you're taking something from live action and animating it, you can do a lot crazier stuff. You can go wild. If you're going from animation to live action, you're gonna have to subdue a lot. And like it's a really careful balance that you need to try, and you definitely need to make it its own thing. This isn't Elseworlds. This is not the story of whatever, but they can get the heart of it down. That would be what the goal is. It's looking like they didn't exactly hit. Didn't exactly. There it is. I've actually never even seen the M. Night one. I just refuse to because I don't need to. I don't need to to watch that.
I'll say something positive about the M. Night.
It ended credits.
No, Asif Manvi actually is kind of great in that because he is in total I don't give a shit mode as the villain, or that one general or whatever who's always against what's his name?
He's Zuko.
Zuko.
General Chow.
Asif Manvi as that character kind of cracks me up in that movie.
I don't remember much. I don't know who's who.
Yeah, whatever. It doesn't matter. That movie sucks.
He just casually drops all the time how much the dude's father hates him. Like he's giving like a toast to him. He's like, a toast to the brave prince. As you all know, his father exiled him.
That is true to the character. That is true to the character. That guy would twist that knife whenever he could.
But I just gotta say, I love the way Asif did it in the movie.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Hey, good. Cheers to Asif Manvi and the one good thing in fucking M. Night's Avatar.
All right, so Scott hated it. Max kind of liked it.
I didn't hate it. No. Oh, so maybe I wasn't. Maybe I wasn't as clear as I should have been.
I think me and Scott are in the same boat on this one.
Yeah. If it gets you into Avatar,
Scott's coming across a lot more negative than you, Max.
Well, he's seen the whole thing.
It's criticism about it.
Yeah.
I really. So I wanted to say something as an example to what Max said. There's two examples of what he was saying where like animation versus live action, where I actually kind of like the koi fish stuff in this more because they really go all in on like the devastation it does. Like he washes away some Fire Nation ships. It's a kid's show. They can't show him like going crazy, but he's like throwing them into each other, and they like do like the J.J. Abrams zoom in of like soldiers falling off to their death and stuff like that. So it kind of shows more of like the war aspect of like the devastation with like the crazy CG. Like you can tell this is where most of their budget went. But then the episode before, they have the Katara versus Paku fight, and it's so stiff, and like they're like it's like the camera is like this wide angle, and they're like standing on opposite sides, and then they switch sides once, and that's all. Whereas in the original, they're like flying around and flipping over. So it's like very much like a. But again, the koi fish is all animation. It's all CGI. So you're still in an animated world, whether you want to say it's live action or not.
Right. Yeah. That's the other thing too. It's like this hybrid, and it's so much harder. It's like to do a movie with people instead of just animation is just so much harder because you are constrained by physics.
Or even just like in animation, if you draw someone in the back, you're not paying them to stand there. If you have a real actor standing there, you have to pay them for their time.
Yeah, that's what I said. So I mean, it's like
unless they're talking, you're not spending money.
yeah. Like you could have a person in there having an interior monologue for 13 minutes, and that's going to cost you the exact same as having a gigantic battle war scene where like whole nations are destroyed. It costs the exact same in an animation.
I gotta ask you guys a question. Did you guys know this was coming out before you turned Netflix on this week? Because I mean, I knew it was coming. I didn't know it was coming this week. Like
Avatar. Oh my god, mate! Oh my god! I feel like it was shoved down my throat. It's like, hey, Avatar! Oh, man, it's coming.
Yeah, the marketing has been aggressive.
Are you watching Avatar? Are you gonna watch Avatar? Because it's coming out. It's on Tuesday. Are you coming out? Like it's.
I don't know how I missed it then because I hadn't seen anything on it until I turned.
But I think that's maybe just because my playlist includes a lot more animation than yours, so it's
probably
the algorithm knows what you like.
Yeah. Not really, but they can keep trying. Swing and a miss, but all right. No, but yeah. Again, if this is your into Avatar and this gets you eventually to the cartoon, which is amazing, I can't hate it. There's not the glaring problems like that I normally have with anything, and maybe that's just me getting older. But. It's okay. It's okay. And hopefully you're like, okay, I like this. Maybe I can get through that first season to watch like all the really, really good stuff in the cartoon.
Yeah. Season 1 has some good stuff, but it's very much like it's like any like first season of any show that's like brand new and like pioneering new concepts. Like it's tough to get through, especially because it was a kid's show.
Yeah.
Like there are some tough episodes where I'm like, this is like I'm 33. Like this is for children.
Oh man, that hurts. But in honor of Scott's cameo today, even though we were going to do this before,
nice.
We're doing our top 5 cameos in movies, and I'm going to kick it off first because mine is a tie. It's the same person in 2 different movies. It's Eminem in The Interview, movie with Seth Rogen and James Franco, and it's Eminem and Funny People, both shitty movies, but 2 of the best cameos. In Funny People, Ray Romano's at a bar, he waves, he says, "Hi, Marshall," and Eminem's like, "Fuck you," and Sandler's like, "Isn't everybody supposed to love you?" I thought that was really funny. And then The Interview, such a bad movie, but Eminem coming out on live news and Seth Rogen like panicking, like, "Oh my God, did Eminem just say he was gay on live TV?" was fantastic. Like,
I also loved it. He's just very downplayed about it, which I think is really cool of him. Just to be like, yeah, I'm gay. I don't know why. I've been kind of saying this for years.
How did everyone not know?
I remember watching that with Max. I think that was the only time we laughed at that movie. Was that?
No,
I didn't think it was that bad. It wasn't great, but it was better than Funny People.
Yeah. The interview, because I hate James Franco. I cannot stand that dude. The interview,
nobody can right now anyway.
Was it wasn't great, but there were some. I remember there being, other than the Eminem cameo, there were some solid funny moments in that, like the Katy Perry firework ending to it all.
Is your favorite of Alien Covenant when James Franco like burns to death?
That's no one's favorite cameo.
Greatest movie of all time. Greatest movie of all time. Actually, no, sorry. Second greatest, because there's that Tom Cruise movie where he dies 40 times and then you stop watching.
There you go.
I do like that movie a lot.
I do like that movie a lot. Maybe Scott and I just agreed, guys. Take a shot. Mike, what is your number?
Well, speaking of James Franco, my number five is actually probably one of the more mainstream ones on my list, because I was really like searching for some cameos. I'm like, these guys probably won't know what this is, which will make him stand out a little bit more. But I will go with Macho Man Randy Savage as Bonesaw McGraw in Spider-Man as my number 5.
Ooh, I got you for 3 minutes.
Yes, 3 minutes of playtime. Here's the reason, is because I we talked about this like a month ago. You don't need to
justify yourself.
I mean, you love Macho Man, but up until that point, like the first Spider-Man movie, he's going for sincerity. Sam Raimi's going for sincerity and corniness. It's kind of an aw shucks type of thing with Peter Parker and all these 30-year-olds playing teenagers.
47-year-old man. That's fine.
James Franco again, by the way.
Yeah, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, Tobey Maguire looks worse than Macho Man Randy Savage.
And there's some fantastical stuff already, like, him crawling up walls and, jumping around rooftops. There is some stuff there, but
47-year-old man in high school, yes.
Yes, exactly. But it's like grounded in some sense of like, okay, this is more subdued. Like this could just be a regular teen drama type of thing that works on that level. And then we get to the wrestling arena where it's like, oh, we're a comic book movie, by the way, because here comes Macho Man, followed up shortly by Bruce Campbell. And then that's when Spider-Man, the comic book movie, really takes root. Up until then, it's like, wow, it's like being played pretty sincerely and pretty grounded. And then all of a sudden, here comes, Bonesaw is ready. Because, big over-the-top theatrical wrestler personality, and I loved him for that. Like, he seemed really game for just basically doing a parody of himself. So good on him.
It was that is a great pick. Like I absolutely, because I'm not a huge fan at all of that first Spider-Man movie or any of them really. Like Spider-Man 2 with Tobey Maguire, I think was leaps and bounds better than the first one. But Bonesaw. I honestly couldn't like. I feel like that's just Randy Savage. Like now, like I don't even see Bonesaw. Like that's just a Randy Savage thing.
It's just him.
Just like the cream rises to the top. Yes, absolutely, great pick. Sorry.
All right, Max.
Am I next? Okay.
Yeah.
My number 5 that I did not write down during the podcast, I definitely had done beforehand. Number 5 goes to Weird Al Yankovic in Weird, the Weird Al Yankovic story. He plays the record producer guy, and it's hilarious.
I haven't seen that movie, but I've seen him.
I still need to see it. Sorry.
It's good. It's really good, and it's like it's completely bonkers absurd. It is not your normal biopic, and I just love Weird Al for that. And like, yeah, he's in it not as himself, and he plays like the record producer guy that told him to F off, and it's just great. Daniel Radcliffe, speaking of Harry Potter, just does a great job in that movie. You can tell like the budget wasn't great, but I love what they did with it. It's just a zany, wild ride. So yeah, if you're a Weird Al fan at all, you should definitely check it out.
Nice. I'm going to. Scott, what about you?
I don't really have a great order on mine, but I also had Eminem in the interview because, yeah, you're right. That's one of the few things I remember from that movie. So when you said cameos, that was like, honestly the first thing that popped in my head. So we'll just say that's my 5.
That should have been that should have been the first thing that popped in my head. It was actually a last edition, and then funny people I came up with during the cast. My number 4 is a callback to when I was a kid because I remember being so excited when I saw it, and that was Dan Aykroyd and Casper as Ray Stantz, the Ghostbuster. I remember watching Casper. I'm like, yes, the Ghostbusters.
There's a lot of cameos in that movie too. I remember. Wow, Guido Sarducci, Mel Gibson.
Mel Gibson. I don't remember this at all.
Bill Pullman. The ghost transformed Bill Pullman into different faces, so you get like Mel Gibson, Rodney Dangerfield, and Clint Eastwood. And I'm like, what?
I gotta rewatch Casper. It's been a hot minute.
Yeah, but that was a pretty good one. What about you, Mike?
This one. Okay, here's where it's gonna get a little specific. Paul Bartel and Mary Warnoff as Paul and Mary Bland from their characters in the movie Eating Raoul. Paul Bartel used to work for New World Pictures, which was, owned and operated by Roger Corman, who made all these, B-movie, low-budget stuff, but also released a lot of prestige stuff under his label. And so Paul Bartel, I believe, after he left New World, ended up making Eating Raoul, which is like this really cool avant-garde sort of dark comedy film where he and his wife, played by Mary Warnoff, kill off basically like annoying quagmire people, which is great because I hate quagmire. So seeing a bunch of quagmires die is awesome for me in order to keep the restaurant open.
Right.
So fucking annoying. Anyways, their characters' names are Paul and Mary Bland, and they're in this Roger Corman produced film called Chopping Mall in 1986, which is about robot security guards that look like Daleks from Doctor Who, like terrorizing teenagers in a closed off mall at night. But they're introducing the robots, and there's this press junket there, and in the crowd is Paul and Mary. And I'm like, and as their characters, so this shares the same universe as Eating Raoul, which blows my mind. And they get to ad-lib some stuff. Like he leans over to Mary and he's just like, the one in the middle has a very uneasy ethnic quality about it. And I'm like, what? So, like, it's
spicy meet the ball.
It's funny because I saw Chopping Mall first a couple of years ago, and I was like, weird. That's weird insert. And then I finally saw Eating Raoul like last year, and I was like, I get it now. What? Okay, cool.
Does that count as double cameo? Because I mean, like, obviously, like the actors are doing a cameo, but
they're a package deal at that point.
Yeah.
So.
All right. No, dope. I should watch those. They sound good. My number 4 goes to Daniel Craig as the Stormtrooper in Force Awakens. I like a cameo where you don't actually really get a cameo.
Which one was he? I'm trying to remember.
He was the one that like had her in, like, she was like bound in the chair, and then she uses her mind powers on him.
Oh yeah, okay.
Force Awakens.
Yeah.
They did that a lot in those new movies, right? They put a lot of like people in Stormtrooper voice cameos.
Because Simon Pegg was somebody. He was the jerk.
He was the junkyard guy.
He played the jerk. Originally by Steve Martin?
Yes, that was actually Simon Pegg in a Steve Martin costume. But so there's a lot of cameos. A lot of JJ people got a little bit of screen time.
JJ loves putting his friends in his projects.
Yeah. The fat dude from Hero or Heroes, he was the X-Wing pilot.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. He was in all of them, I think.
Yeah. Yeah,
and he died at the end.
Right.
But yeah, no, Daniel Craig, Stormtrooper, he gets the mind powers used on him.
Now, I'm curious though. When you first saw the movie, when you heard the voice, did you know automatically it was him?
I did.
Okay.
I did recognize the voice. I'd recently seen all the James Bond films, so. But I did pick it out. It's I don't know. He's got a distinct British tone, I guess. You're like, it's like Statham and Daniel Craig. I think I'd be able to pick out of a room, but yeah. So that's my number 4.
All right, my number 4 is, and this is bear with me. So it's Timothy Olyphant playing Clint Eastwood in Rango. If you've ever seen the movie Rango with Johnny Depp.
Johnny Depp, yeah.
Yeah. He's the spirit of the West, because it's basically a spaghetti western, and I don't know if it was a budget or if Clint Eastwood just didn't want to do it, but he's you know, the good, the bad, and the ugly. He's the spirit of the West, and he has like a little vision of him. Sweet. And I don't know. I thought it was funny. It's a good movie. So.
That is weird that Clint Eastwood would say no to that, but said yes to Casper.
Well, Casper's just a shot of his face, right?
No,
I didn't have to do anything.
Well, no, I think he said a line. Like he showed up on set to say a line.
I
remember that movie.
Casper came out 30 years before Rango.
I have to rewatch. I have to rewatch Rango now because I remember I love the animation style of that movie.
I love Bill Nighy in that movie. I'm just a Bill Nighy fan, but I love him in that film.
I've not seen Rango. I need to watch it. Apparently,
you call yourself an animaniac?
I do call myself an animaniac. I'm the last one standing. Okay,
it's a much more serious, well executed version of Fievel Goes West.
I'm not the animaniac you need. I'm the animaniac you deserve.
Let's run it back. Let's go.
All right, for sure. You heard it here. It's happening. We're gonna make this. We're gonna make this happen for sure.
My number 3 is going to go to Bill Murray in Zombieland.
I took that one off my list because I knew someone else.
That's actually also my number 3.
Hey,
nice.
Tied it up.
Yeah, I mean it's funny. It's very, very funny, and I love Bill Murray.
Yeah, I figured that other people would at the very least think of this one. I was kind of hoping that everyone would be like, no, everyone else is gonna put it on. So I just get like the obvious. The most obvious one in the room, but yeah, no. Bill Murray in Zombieland was a great cameo. Like, you did not see it coming at all, and then like just the perfect amount of time with him and the perfect exit. Yep. So yeah, the 100% great cameo.
The line of the movie: "What's your biggest regret?" I don't know. Garfield, maybe.
Garfield, yeah.
Cameo at the end of the second Zombieland, which is not as good as the original, but his cameo is still pretty strong. I think he's on the set of Garfield 3, and that's when the apocalypse breaks out. And I just remember laughing super hard. It's not as good as the original, but it's still a pretty solid cameo.
I've never seen the second Zombieland.
Yeah. I'm around to it.
Did not bother.
It's fine.
They really should not have come back to this.
All right.
What about you, Mike?
My number 3, Jason will probably be the only one here who appreciates this one, but Monica Bellucci as herself in Twin Peaks: The Return. It's not technically a movie. It's an 18-hour movie, but
it is a movie.
It is a movie.
3-act structure broken down amongst 18 hours. That is a fucking movie. You have no idea what happens in that damn show until like episode 8 because it's all first act of a movie. Yeah.
But
it's so fucking good too.
Where David Lynch he's as his character going Cole, he's talking about this dream he had where he was at a cafe sitting across from Monica Bellucci, and she just talks to him in cryptic messages about the theme of the show. And part of me is like, well, here's the whole deal. Monica Bellucci, total smoke show. Love her. She's awesome. Been a fan of hers for, quite
Since
a few years now.
Matrix.
That was where where I first became aware of who she was, but I'd actually seen her in some Italian movies prior to that. And I was like, wow, she is stunningly gorgeous and a great actress too. But in Twin Peaks: The Return, I was just like, you just wanted to sit down across from Monica Bellucci, didn't you? Like, there's no reason why this cameo's here other than David Lynch just wanted to have a scene with Monica Bellucci. I'm like, I can't blame him. But yeah.
I mean, if I've got the budget, we're doing it. It's like, oh yeah, no, remember that scene with Monica Bellucci? And she said she was available, right?
Yep. So there we go. I was like,
there's a lot of things in Twin Peaks: The Return that I think David Lynch just wanted to see himself.
Yeah.
Episode 8, I think, was a prime example.
And also a whole bunch of cameos in that show as well that you were like, whoa, they pulled this person for this? Cool.
Yeah. Yeah. What about you, Scott?
I also have a non-movie cameo. A couple. I'll keep you in suspense. But Mae Jemison in Star Trek: The Next Generation. She is a female astronaut who got a cameo as a transporter tech. So I like when like real life like astronauts and scientists. You could probably tie. What's his name?
Neil deGrasse Tyson.
No. Who's the
Buzz Aldrin?
No, who's the dude in the wheelchair? I don't know.
Stephen Hawking.
Stephen Hawking. He's in TNG too.
Yeah.
Anyway.
He's in like the hologram.
He's in the holodeck. So yeah, I like when they bring like real life people into Star Trek. But Mae Jemison is a really cool inclusion. She had like I don't even know if she had a line, but she's just standing there. Like,
and I think I mean, yeah, you were right. The whole reason she wanted to be there was because like it's what inspired her to want to be an astronaut. So it's like
she and Nichelle Nichols were like good friends too, I guess.
Oh, that's cool.
That's dope.
I think before she even got on Star Trek.
Yeah,
so yeah, love it when a real life scientists show up in Star Trek.
Love it when a plan comes together.
Nice. My number 2 is Neil Patrick Harris and Harold and Kumar.
Nice. Yeah.
A recurring thing too.
In all of them, really, but especially the first one. Yeah, his cameo in 3 might be better than all of them because he has his real life husband in the thing, and him being gay is all a ploy for him to get more women in Harold and Kumar 3, and just the way him and his husband play off of that, like behind closed doors, where they're like, "Ugh, that's gross,h," like it is such a funny cameo.
Completely forgot even made a third one.
I watch it every Christmas.
Oh man.
Jeez.
Yeah, I love Neil Patrick Harris a lot.
I like him a lot too. He's a good actor.
Yeah, no, MPH is a fine entertainer.
He was the one good thing about A Million Ways to Die in the West. He's the one thing I remember about that movie.
Something good about that
movie?
I
don't remember anything about that movie. I'm pretty sure I watched it though. Like I want to say that I watched it. There's a dude who gets smashed by a giant ice cube.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah, the refrigeration.
Was that in the trailer?
Yeah, that was in the trailer. So
I like Seth MacFarlane too, but that movie I just could not. I didn't even finish it. I couldn't do it.
Yeah. Ooh, maybe I didn't watch it.
I didn't watch it. Probably watched that, but not watch it.
Yeah.
What do you got, Mike?
My number 2, well, to kind of piggyback off of my previous one, David Lynch in The End of the Fabelmans as director John Ford, where basically, I guess, this is supposed to be somewhat autobiographical about Steven Spielberg's life. His stand-in, Fabelman, goes to see if he can have time, get a job in a movie studio, and someone's like, "Hey, you want to meet somebody?" And he's waiting in the office of John Ford, who made all like the great Western pictures and things like that. And then it's just David Lynch with an eye patch, smoking a cigar. He's being like, "If the horizon line's too high, it's interesting. If it's low, it's interesting. If it's in the middle of the frame, it's boring as shit." And like that's the advice he passes along to this kid. And I'm like, I love that. Like it's, I don't know, I love that movie overall. As a filmmaker in his spare time and stuff, it spoke to a lot of like, okay, here's how film can help you process a lot of stuff you go through in life. And just having David Lynch there to legitimize that whole story at the end, I'm just like, man, that's awesome. I love that.
All right. I had a number 2 written down. It's Ben Affleck and Matt Damon in Anything View Askew, where they're just having the cameo. But
Jesus, again, Ben. No, I wasn't with a hooker today. Bullshit.
But I just thought of a better one that I really should have written down. But I can't. I'm I've had a good amount of beer and not a lot of food. So Iceman. Who plays Iceman?
Val Kilmer.
Val Kilmer. Okay. Val Kilmer, True Romance as Elvis in the bathroom. Great cameo.
That's a great second pick.
That's a great one.
That's a great number 2.
I completely forgot about that. I was like, oh man, True Romance is just.
Oh yeah, lots of great cameos in that movie. Christopher Walken, even Dennis Hopper. Great cameo. But
whatever the hell Gary Oldman's doing.
Gary Oldman, over the top with Gary Oldman. But no, yeah, Val Kilmer as Elvis, just like that. That is just some shit you did not see coming at all. I mean, like, okay, you didn't see Samuel L. Jackson or Gary Oldman coming, but like that, the Val Kilmer was just the weirdest thing in that movie. Yeah, so that's what I'm going for my number two.
Yeah, Val Kilmer's got some pretty good cameo. Yeah, he had a good cameo in Maverick also.
Yeah, as Iceman. Yeah, that was
very emotional cameo too.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that was.
Oh yeah,
and that was very well done, I thought. And he tried. He's dead now, so like that sucks. But
no, he's not dead, is he?
Val Kilmer's dead.
Is.
Well, Iceman, the character. I was like,
oh, yeah. I thought Val Kilmer died.
No.
He can't really talk, but he's definitely still alive.
Oh,
yeah, he's still alive.
I thought he died.
Excuse me while I do the Denzel gif.
Max, I thought he died too, man.
Scared the hell out of
me. If he was dead, he would have been a shitty CGI.
Cameo in the Flash.
Oh, yeah, he was in the Flash. Oh God.
If he was, I would have cried legitimate tears.
But they did the shitty CGI treatment to like 3 other actors in the Flash, didn't they?
Yeah.
I mean, I would have cried tears of pain for the legacy of those actors.
Oh God, yeah. So, but no, True Romance, great film. You should check it out if you haven't seen it, and wait for Val Kilmer to show up.
Yeah, I think Arrow, they've got like the definitive like restoration cut. I might have to go get that tomorrow. Yeah, Arrow DVD or Blu-ray, they have a version of True Romance that's like awesome. So.
I think Arrow's doing a sale right now too, Mike.
Oh yeah, now I'm definitely going tomorrow.
I know I don't currently own that movie, so I might also have to go pick it up.
That's a sad thing. I own the director's cut already, but to get like the HD like director's cut,
choice, noise.
My number 2 is going to sound derivative because it's another Next Generation cameo, and it is Mick Fleetwood when he was the weird fish monster. Or he was an ambassador, but he was also an assassin. That's my favorite, like, of any like Star Trek cameo, because who would be like who else besides Mick Fleet would be like, yeah, I'll be this weird ass fish. I don't even think he like, because I know they like dub over the voice and whatever. I don't even know if that's his voice. But I know it's him in the costume.
That is a very. I've heard about that role too. I'm like, that is a very specific pull there, Scott. Like, and we've had like Iggy Pop on like Deep Space Nine or something, right?
Iggy Pop. I know one of the Rage Against the Machine guys was in Voyager. I think it's Tom Morello. So.
Jeez Louise.
All right, dope.
That's pretty awesome.
Does he like give you a tasty lick? Because then it's definitely
Janeway's like, can you replicate me at a guitar? Who knows how to play this? I think he's just like a transporter chief. He just stands in the background.
I've always wanted a copy of Star Wars where James Earl Jones doesn't get where they just play the dude's actual voice.
David Prowse.
Like, oi, Luke, I'm your father. Like,
yeah.
Release the Prowse cut.
Whenever documentaries show like from the first movie, like he's torturing that one rebel person, is like, I want this ship teared apart.
Well, Max, after we're done breaking into the WB vault, we'll go plan a heist at Disney.
Yep. Yeah. Sounds good. No, actually, though, no, I'm not going to mess with the mouse. That's not worth it. It won't end well. That's not. Our stories will never get told. That will just be the end of us.
Zaslav will be like, "Oh, someone broke into the vault and stole it. Whatever. We got the money."
Yeah, like we already got the tax write-off. Like we're fine.
And now I think he probably claimed it as an insurance claim for that.
Yeah, and he gets to sue
us. There he goes.
And he gets to
win-win.
Sue us. But no, the mouse will want revenge. They will want blood. They will come after our families. No, you don't want to do that.
They're coming after people still about a character that's already in the public domain.
Yeah,
so it's like
okay,
weird.
So we don't want no troubles. We don't want no troubles.
Yeah,
love you, Disney.
That are going to use Mickey Mouse, the public domain version. Just make sure it is spot on, because they're going to sue the shit out of you if it's not that exact version. Be prepared.
Yep.
My
Just don't do
cameos
it.
from
Not worth it.
one of my favorite comedies of all time. It's a newer one, and that is Channing Tatum, and This Is the End. As
Oh, nice.
That is a good
nice.
Like,
oh, hey guys,
that
what's
movie, I hated Channing Tatum until watching that, and then Channing Tatum did the Jump Streets afterwards, and I started to become a fan of him doing comedy, and it started with this movie. I love this movie in general. All these celebrities making fun of themselves through the whole movie is fantastic, but especially Channing Tatum just willing to go there after, because he was known as the pretty boy in Hollywood, and he became Danny McBride's bitch. It's so good. So
I love his commitment to the bit too, because that's him like grabbing onto Danny's arm, and Danny's just like, "Get off of my dick!"
It was really good to see his just like, hey, like I have a sense of humor. I don't take myself that seriously, and just even like anyone doing that would have been hilarious. But like, Channing Tatum knocked it out of the park. Like, just you don't see that coming at all.
From what I remember,
it's my number one because I became a fan of the guy after watching it. Like, his cameo was so good to me that I started to like him, with this stuff going forward. So
that movie actually gave a lot of people time, I bet, really stretch out and like do stuff they hadn't done. Because he gets to kind of play that, subversion of his public image at the time. Then you get like Emma Watson in there being, hey, Emma Watson being like a complete like badass, like you all are messed up. The Franco portrayal is pretty accurate, apparently. So.
And I mean, the Michael Cera one could have gone on here too with the juice box. That was
I love he just blows cocaine in McLovin's face.
Aziz Ansari had a good one too. Get in the hole, Aziz. Get in the hole. But Mike, what about you? What's your number one?
Okay, well, before I give you my number one, I just thought of a runner-up, Donald Glover in Across the Spider-Verse as live-action Prowler. I'm just going to give kudos to that because it's like he's the one who got us Miles Morales, technically, because he was the one back in the 2010s championing to want to be like, why can't there be just a black Peter Parker? And that eventually led to the creation of Miles Morales. And so good on Donald Glover for getting his due. I mean, he got his due, in the MCU film and stuff, but he gets his due like fully to be Prowler.
He gets a costume.
He gets a costume in this one. But my number one would be from Akira Kurosawa's Dreams, and it's Martin Scorsese as Vincent van Gogh in a dream sequence. He's just like out in a field painting, and he talks to like the main character of this one vignette for a little bit. And it's kind of beautiful because the reason I chose this as my number one is because Martin Scorsese has always been this, figurehead and this guy who pushes along the idea of like preserving film no matter what, preserving international films. And he's a huge advocate for all these films that none of us have heard of off in other countries that have important cultural significance, but don't get a lot of circulation because they're not the mainstream Hollywood blockbuster type of stuff. And he's all about like everything should be given its due. And so that's why he's going out of his way to preserve a lot of films. That's why, he's always kind of advocating for people to tell their original visions. And it felt really cool that he's imparting like his good graces and wishes to another very influential filmmaker, Kurosawa, here in this movie by being a part of it. So I was like really like loving that cameo that he has in this one little part of that movie. Dreams is an awesome movie. Like I know probably a lot of you guys have seen like Seven Samurai and things like that, but some of Kurosawa's quieter movies, like I talked about Ikuru and so forth, like his quieter dramas are phenomenal. Like you should check them out. They're really great.
That's dope. That is super dope. Yeah, and I've definitely seen, like, unfortunately, Seven Samurai is probably the only Kurosawa movie that I've watched. I'm kind of ashamed to say, but I mean, like, dude is dope. Super awesome. My number one, and I don't know if this counts as a cameo. This is definitely pushing the limits of either like cameo or in the movie. Dietrich Bader in Office Space.
Yeah, I mean, he's on the list or he's on the cast list, but I mean, he's not in the movie a lot, so I'd say it's a pretty good cameo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. 2 chicks at the same time, man. It's
Now, were you partially inspired because Scott sent a Office Space meme in the group chat earlier today about Dune?
I'm not. I cannot neither confirm nor deny. The list has been done. The list has been done for quite a while now. So
Months.
no, I was not influenced
Before
at all.
Before Jay
Max-
even announced that today.
He has
Yeah,
this in
no,
the
I had
archive.
I
He has
had
this
list
in his archive. He's ready
Yeah,
to go.
it was quite easy for me to just pull this down and be like, oh, okay, like Cameo's cool, we got this. So yeah, definitely not influenced at all by any memes or any conversation that was had today. But yeah, no, that's gonna be my number one, just because like I don't know, that character like he's kind of just like every weird neighbor that like you kind of want to have. Like he's a good dude, but you don't want to hang out with him. Like it's
What's the character's name again? I'm trying to remember.
I don't even
Russell?
know. Maybe
right?
Russell. Maybe Russell.
I just remember
I've done my homework, but that's really on you to know. Like I know, but I'm gonna let you find out by yourself. Go ahead and watch the movie again. Just to see. But yeah, that's my number one.
Hey Peter, breast exam.
Yeah, I can tell Max right now. We're gonna do top 5 David Lynch cameos. You just gotta step into the other room. He can pull it out right now and be ready. To go.
Yeah, no, I've actually got it right. The notebook is right here. The notebook's right here. The pen,
Nice.
The pen has already inked.
But I'm not gonna have him tell us now because he's got to save it for later. Scott, what's your number one?
My number one is John Hurt in Spaceballs. I saw that. I saw Spaceballs before I saw Alien, like as a kid.
Me too, yeah.
Which is funny that like my parents were like more okay with me seeing Spaceballs than Alien, which is like in retrospect is a little weird. But,
yeah, well, there's a lot more stuff in Spaceballs that, yeah, but also it'd go over a kid's head probably at the time.
I guess so, but yeah, I love the not again, Yeah, the special, like that. Check, please. So that whole scene is fantastic.
I just love the idea of John Hurt gets to show up to that set and sit down and be subjected to that horrible joke. It's like, we're on Pluto. Why? Because of the bark on the trees or whatever. The guy says, and John Hurt's gonna be like, this is what's gonna trigger the alien to come out of me. Really? Okay.
I watched the Rick and Morty episode that has Hugh Jackman in it, and I like when like the actor who's like the butt of the joke is like actually playing themselves. They like get him to actually do the voice. Like I'm a sucker for that kind of stuff. So
I like that episode too. It was kind of weird timing too, about like his version of Jackman in that episode is like, I'm just living my life, doing wild, crazy shit. Now that I'm
doing hella drugs,
but still like he's got the background like, well, because I got my marriage to work, mate, and stuff. And he'd just gotten divorced, I think, or separated from his wife in real life at the time.
God.
So it was like a weird kind of timing of that episode.
Yeah, so. And I like how he's in the episode. He's like, I don't care about my movies. I'm much more proud of like my theater background and stuff like that, which seems like a very like Hugh Jackman thing to do.
Well, Scott, it is so glad to see you today. I hope we don't have to wait till the final season of Cobra Kai to have you back on. But
no, Animaniacs is coming back.
I look forward to it.
It's happening, dude.
Guys, you can look forward to Animaniacs in 2028 returning to a podcast near you.
Oh.
This is a bit of foreshadowing. Because
I don't think we ever did.
I think that's worth some money too.
Not the Blu-ray. The Blu-ray's still in print.
Is it?
Damn it!
You poaching my ideas, Max.
No. That's what the foreshadowing is.
Oh, okay. That's what you were foreshadowing. Because I'm like, inside baseball. We were talking about this a few days ago.
Yeah.
Let's go. Because we did season 1 of Batman the Animated Series on Animaniacs?
Yes.
I don't think we did anything beyond that.
Batman Beyond.
Beyond.
I don't think we did Beyond.
We definitely talked about the animated series. Maybe we didn't do Beyond, but
I don't think we ever got past season 1 of Batman the Animated Series.
I mean, like there's a lot of fertile ground to be tilled there.
Somebody call up Dan. Let's get this going.
Everybody out there, guys, like, comment, follow, subscribe, all the fun stuff. Check out Mike at youtube.com/Mike McGTV. Check out Max and I here every week with these guys, and we'll see you guys soon. Bye.
Recycle your droid.